This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
It says anything is possible if someone like Dave can get one like her. There's hope for humanity. Yeah, bro. There's hope for some of you out there. Admit it, Anthony. I freaked you out with that one, right? Dave McMenamin and Malik Andrews, an item.
If true, I'm happy for them.
Yeah. I of course you're happy. You would have never picked that couple together, bro.
And I know Dave a little bit. He's a good guy. He's a really good guy.
Yeah, he looks like a super nice guy. That's probably why Malika likes him, because he probably is a nice guy. She's probably run into a whole bunch of jerks in her life, and he's probably like a decent dude. He looks like a decent dude, but God, those two don't look like they go together, bro. It just, I look at her and I think she's going to pick somebody a little bit more GQ. You know what I'm saying? And nothing against Dave. I just don't see him in that GQ mold. You know what I'm saying? Just impressive. He outkicked his coverage, bro. He outkicked his coverage in a big time way, I got to say. All right. Interesting. Last night, a buddy of mine called me this morning, and he had a great point. And he goes, man, they played like crap, right? And PJ and Butler clearly looked like they were playing on one leg. So why play them? And the only thing I could come up with is those guys talk the coaches and everybody into, no, we want to play, and maybe we can steal one and make this 3-1 and put it, in an impossible spot or something like that. But it's that fine line of why did they play when you end up playing like this? And do you think it was what I thought of, that these guys are like, no, come on, coach, we can do it. We can come up with another performance, make it 3-1 and make it impossible for them. Your thoughts on, those guys were banged up. You're up 2-1, mission accomplished in Boston. Why not scale it back a little bit in hindsight after you watch that performance?
I think you're right. I think they saw an opportunity to maybe go up 3-1. They obviously didn't see it going like that, right?
Right.
I'm sure they didn't envision that. If they would have thought that was going to happen, they wouldn't have played. Nobody would have played, right?
Right.
So, yeah, it was an opportunity. PJ Tucker has been playing through injuries all playoffs. I know right now it's the knee irritation, but he had this strained calf in the beginning of the playoffs that he suffered late in the regular season. He's had multiple issues.
The mileage that body has already.
It's crazy. Props to him for even he hasn't missed a game this entire postseason, despite all the issues and despite guarding James Harden, Trae Young, Jason Tatum. He's been incredible. Yeah, last night was just a bad night. Obviously, probably their worst performance of the season, at least either the worst or one of the worst for sure. But I think they did see an opportunity. And then when you look at Golden State 3-0, they're going to have potentially a week off here.
Oh, for sure.
And the Heat are probably why are we going to punt a game where we have a chance to go up 3-1 and also get some rest, right? Obviously, it didn't work out, but hindsight's 20/20.
All right, and here's the other one that I have, and obviously we've had the Bam discussion has always been something we've had for a few years now, and I've said I gave up on him already on this whole offensive thing. It's not who he is. And I was reading an article on Mac Jones, how some of the people in the Boston media, again, they're already talking him up like the next Tom Brady. The problem is, if you watch the games last year, they never put the game in Mac Jones' hands. They always tried to win it all other ways and had Mac Jones just try to facilitate. Well, Ira and I had a discussion about this a week ago, and he was like, well, maybe you should be mad at Spo for not using Bam more in the offense, this and that. And I gave him the benefit of the doubt. But after watching last night, I've come to this realization, actually, when it comes to Bam. One, he's not a max player, and the Heat screwed up in giving him that contract now in hindsight, because he'll never be that force you need on offense. He's not wired that way. But more importantly, all right, Anthony, not that you'll get anybody to say this, I think the Heat know it already, because in a game last night where two of your stars are going in with flat tires, your center is young, he's got all kinds of energy and all that, And he had a hell of a performance on Saturday when Williams wasn't in. And so all of a sudden now, you figure, well, hey, we got some guys that are hurting. Let's use Bam again as the focal point of the offense. That wasn't the case. And that just tells me that on a night where you needed him to be him again, yet the team wasn't willing to run the offense through him. And I think no matter what anybody tells me at this point anymore, deep down inside, they know they can't run the offense through him every night. They can't expect him to play like he played on Saturday night because that's just not who he is. He is a great role player that will occasionally get on an offensive role, but not a guy that can impose his offensive game on you on a nightly basis. Your thoughts on that?
I agree and I disagree. I don't think he's a primary offensive option. I think that much is clear at this point in his career. I don't know if he'll ever be that. I think he'll get better on offense. I think he'll eventually develop a more consistent outside shot, maybe even a three-point shot, which would help, obviously, his offensive game. His team sag off of him right now.
How long we waiting for that?
Yeah, I mean, look, Chris Bosh didn't develop his three-point shot until he got to Miami. That was maybe 7-8 years into his career.
Well, but he never tried until he had to get to Miami. That they said, "Hey, listen, LeBron, we need you posting."
Bam has never tried either, and whether that's him or Spo, Bam has never really tried either. I mean, he doesn't take threes, you know.
But that's my point. Notice how that's my point. They're not forcing this issue, bro, at all. The Heat doesn't force the issue at all because he doesn't have it in him. Because he's not wired like Zoe. Zoe would be mother effing everybody on the court. Give me the damn ball, bro. You guys suck right now. Give me the damn ball. In practice, he would do that to them. So they know that in the game, you better give him the ball when he gives you that damn look. That's not Bam, bro. It's not Bam.
I think Bam sometimes struggles between. He's been used as so much of a facilitator, as a hub, as a handoff guy, so much early in his career that I think he struggles with that fine line a lot of times. I mean, you saw Game 3 when Robert Williams wasn't in there. There was a lot of single coverage, semi-transition. He was aggressive, getting past Al Horford, taking advantage of Al Horford's age. He made Al Horford look pretty old that game, although Al Horford bounced back and played really well defensively in Game 4. Celtics loaded up on Bam last night, and you saw the difference. Bam just wasn't as aggressive. He took 5 shots and got 5 free throws. So yeah, I think offensively, we all know there are issues for Bam that he needs to get better at. There's no doubt about that. But what I will say is Bam is a star defensively, and that can't be ignored. He's one of the best. You could argue he's the best defensive player in the league.
0 blocks and 0 steals. He's done that twice in the last 3 games. He's not wired right, bro. It's not wired right.
Yeah, I don't really measure. I mean, yes,
you can't. A great defensive player is Alonzo Mourning. That was going to be a force one way or another. You know what I mean? When I remember great defensive players, that's Jimmy Butler. That's, the guys that actually are relentless at what they do. Bam Adebayo twice in the last 3 games has ended up with no blocks and no steals. And I know you're going to tell me the whole block. Well, they got him on the outside and the perimeter. He can't block as much. Okay, but then
he's a totally different role than Zoe.
You can steal the hell out of the ball. You can still get into passing lanes. You can still do stuff, and you're not doing it. You know what I'm saying? And there are times when you're also inside fighting for rebounds, and you're trying to get a defensive rebound. You can also block a shot there. And I don't see. Yesterday, he had 6 rebounds. Yeah. And the other night when he had no steals and no blocks, he had 9 rebounds. I'm sorry, bro. If you're a defensive stud, I need you to be into the middle double digits every night. If you're not going to be an offensive stud, then I need you to become Ben Wallace. I need you to become, Dennis Rodman. I need you to become Clint Capella. I need you to become a whirling dervish on defense. And I haven't seen that every night either.
Yeah, I mean, I think, in my opinion, I think he's one of the best defensive players in the NBA. I don't think he can be measured by blocks because that's not who he is. He's not a rim protector. He's not a traditional center. He's a guy who could switch onto any player in the league and stay in front of him, which is really unique. I don't know if any other player really can do that, maybe other than Draymond Green. And that's what makes this defense go. That's why this defense is what it is, because of him.
Exceptional role player. Except that you're describing you see what's going on in Phoenix?
Do you think Draymond Green is a
what's
max
going on
player?
in Phoenix? You saw what's going on in Phoenix?
DeAndre Ayton?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so DeAndre Ayton averaged 17.2 points. Bam is 19. DeAndre Ayton averaged 10.2 rebounds. Bam 10.1. Bam shoots 55% from the field. DeAndre Ayton 63. DeAndre's agents are super pissed. They want a max deal, and Phoenix says, "You're not a max player, bro. We can't give it to you." So Phoenix is showing the discipline of not paying him max when he and Bam are kind of the same player. I know Bam's a little better defensively on the perimeter. He can defend other guys that probably Ayton can't defend.
Yeah.
But still, that doesn't make him a franchise player. That doesn't make him a max player. So here's a piggyback question. Tyler Hero, what do you do, bro? He's a six man.
Yeah.
No six man's a max player, my brother.
I'm not sure if he gets the max, to be honest with you. I don't know. That's a decision he has to make, but I'm not sure if he does.
Duncan Robinson has turned into a bad contract. Bam Adebayo is a bad contract. It's a bad contract.
I don't think Bam Adebayo is a bad contract. We can agree to disagree.
My brother, he's not a max player. A max player has to be a guy that is a franchise player. He's not that. He's a really good role player. Like, role players can get hot offensively and get on a little roll. Franchise players impose their will on you, whether you like it or not, bro. You're not going to stop. You're not stopping Joel Embiid. That's a max player.
Right.
That's what I call a max player.
Sure.
There's no way that Bam is anywhere near Embiid. If you're talking about big man max, that's why Jokic, big man max. He may not play the defense of this guy, but he makes such a difference imposing his will offensively.
There's no doubt he's much better offensive player than Bam. There's no doubt.
He's a much better franchise player, period. Just a franchise player. Dude, you realize that that Doncic has more steals and blocks than Bam does in his series compared to Bam right now? I mean,
Yeah, but do you think he's a better defensive player than Bam?
No, I'm just, he's a better franchise player than Bam. That's my point. If I'm giving you franchise money, Anthony, I need you to be a son of a bitch every night, bro. I need you to be the man every night. I need you to be Jimmy Butler every night. And I was wrong there.
Right.
I didn't look at Jimmy Butler as a max player, but dude, the way he's played, that's max.
How much does age come into a factor here? Where we got the max at 23, and you're paying a guy, 4 or 5 years into the future, so you're trying to kind of projecting of what he can be when you give him that contract.
Yeah, I just have a problem. I just don't see it. It's like Huberdeau and Barkov. It's the same thing to me. Huberdeau, Barkov, and Bam are the same players. They all have their gifts.
Right.
But they're not mother effers, bro. They're not franchise guys. They don't know how to impose their will on. To me, that's what a star does. A star affects the game. I'm watching Barkov and Huberdeau, and then I'm looking at Stamkos and Kucherov, and Stamkos and Kucherov are playing like they're imposing their will. Barkov and Huberdeau are just like cruising around. I'm looking at Embiid, and he's imposing his will with a fractured face, a fractured thumb. You can't stop his ass. You know what I'm saying? That's the man. That's what I got. And so now the Heat, they got some issues coming up now, because what do you do with Tyler Hero? You know what I mean? What is that, another projection?
Right.
How do you project that one?
It is going to be tough. I mean, it is another projection type of deal where you're trying, you might be paying out for the next 4 or 5 years, so you're trying to project what he can be, and that's where the decision comes in, and that's what makes it so complicated. It's kind of similar to Bam in a way, where you're paying a young player what you believe he will be in a few years. Yeah,
because I think the Duncan contract can be moved. I was talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
Sacramento, Indiana, Utah, Orlando, Charlotte, Detroit, Memphis, Oklahoma City, even though Oklahoma City has 4 billion picks. But all these kind of cities that can't get any free agents, they all need a shooter. Everybody needs a shooter.
Right.
So he'll be able to be moved. That I'm not worried about. That contract's not crazy. You know what I'm saying? So you'll be able to save Caleb Martin and free up that kind of money so you can keep, because that's my problem here. Maybe you have a couple of guys that you are developing, because you look at Duncan and you go, well, Strus is better. Strus can fill the lane. Strus can handle a little bit. Strus can play defense. Strus can rebound. Strus has an edge to him. This guy does not, so you have that guy, you know what I'm saying? And when you look at Tyler, you're going, well, wait a minute. Okay, he's got a fantastic offensive game and all that, but do we pay him the max, or do we save ourselves some money and say we can kind of get the same thing from Caleb Martin maybe, but yet we don't have to pay nearly as much? I don't know how you handle this, but they've got some tough decisions. Yeah. Look at the Lowry deal. Yeah. I thought the Lowry deal was going to be a bad deal on the back end. Well, guess what? It's turned out to be a bad deal in the first year already. He's missing way too much time at this point with his injury.
Yeah, so, it's unfortunate, the timing of the injury for sure. One thing on Bam that I will say, and I get all your points. I get all of them. But I think whether you think he's a max player or not, if the Heat put him on the trading block right now, which they're not going to do, there would be numerous teams trying to trade for that contract, which you can't say it's a bad contract in that regard, because if that's the market, that's the market, right? So I think even now, even despite all his faults, he has faults, obviously, offensively, if you put him on the trading block, every big market team, every big
I'm not saying to trade him. I'm not saying to trade him.
No, I'm just saying
you can still do an Orlando Magic thing like they did with Dwight Howard years ago,
where the shooters.
Yeah, exactly. Where he's the focal point on defense, gives you whatever garbage points you get from him, and then you got to have the guys around him. So I'm not telling you it can't work. Yeah. It can work with Bam, but again, now we know what he is. So you got to make sure you have some sons of bitches around him, not just Butler. You got to find another one or two other guys and say, okay, we got to surround the guy, because we can never count on him to be the focal point of the offense. And that's the other thing. The Heat have never, they don't even try to run offense through him.
Right.
And there's got to be,
they tried a little bit, but that was
a reason why. Yeah. There's a reason why they've come to that realization. They may not tell you publicly, they may not tell me publicly, but deep down inside, they know he's not the guy offensively. Because at this point in his career, he's not a factor, and you're happy with him disappearing at nights, then that tells me you don't care. That's not a focal point of what you're looking from him. It's like a bonus. Almost.
Sure.
Yeah. Sure. How do you handle game 5 now? Any changes? What do you do with Oladipo? What do you do with some of these other guys that you have right now? Do you tweak anything?
I don't know if there is anything to tweak. I mean, they need to find solutions offensively, obviously. They had 3 shots at the rim in the first half, a bunch of mid-range shots, contested threes. Shot chart was bad. Celtics defense is really good, but if they're going to, they have to find ways to generate some efficient offense. If not, they're going to lose this series. Jimmy Butler can't go 3 for 14 and take no free throws. He's taken 2 free throws in the last 2 games. They need Tyler Hero to play, because he is one of their best shot creators, and against a really good defense like the Celtics, that you just sometimes need to hit tough shots. I know Tyler hasn't been playing great, but he has that skill set to be able to do that. So I think they're just gonna. There's probably certain tweaks they can do offensively to get guys maybe better looks against what the Celtics are doing and really loading the paint and going under screens. But at the end of the day, they're gonna have to hit more shots, and they're gonna have to find a way to generate better offense. And Jimmy, I know he's not 100%. That's obvious after the way he played in Game 4, but he needs to be the best player on the court, pretty much, for the Heat to win.
Do they regret what they did last night and letting those guys play, you think? Because
I don't think so.
I could have given them 2 more extra days of treatment and no wear and tear.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't think so. Pressure for Game 5, man. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they regret it, because, again, you don't know. If you look at the result, I'm sure they would say, man, we should have sat them. But how do you know that's going to happen? You had just won Game 3. You had the momentum.
That's part of regrets.
Yeah.
Regrets they come from you didn't expect it, but then it's hindsight. It's all hindsight. They got to have some regrets right now.
Sure.
Even Jimmy has to have regrets that he played, because it's 2 more days of treatment for him without wear and tear. And maybe, just maybe, because now that you played, man, that makes it that much harder for you to be fresh for them in Game 5. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, and the
Because
Eastern Conference final schedule is tough. Every other day, now they're traveling today to go back to Miami. I mean, there's just not much time to rest for either side, whether it's Marcus Smart and Robert Williams or the Heat with Jimmy, PJ, Kyle, Tyler. There's just not a lot of time to rest.
they
So I
traveled
just,
today. They didn't travel last night.
I believe that the plan was that since the game was so late last night, 8:30, get out at midnight, it's a 3.5 hour flight. I believe they traveled back home this morning. Yeah.
Okay. 3.5 hours from Boston?
Well, 3 hours and a little over 3 hours. Yeah.
Wow.
A little over 3 hours. It's a pretty long flight.
All right, what are you working on there? And by the way, folks, remember, download the app, tap that app, iOS or Android, Liquor Split, and please don't drink and drive, okay? So stay home, watch the Golden State Warriors and Mavs game tonight, watch the Marlins tonight, order your liquor, order your wine, order your whiskey, order your snacks. Go to the Liquor Split app, tap that app, folks. $2.99 flat fee. No hidden fees whatsoever there. So download the app at Liquor Split. What are you working on in the Miami Herald as we get ready for Game 5, my friend?
Yeah, I'll have something up later today on kind of the free throw disparity between these two games. It's amazing the Heat even won one of these two games. Boston took 40 more free throws than the Heat in games 3 and 4.
Is it
40.
more about the rest, or is it more that they're not attacking the hole?
I looked at the numbers, and the Heat have one fewer drive to the basket than the Boston these last two games. One fewer drive. It's just that they have gotten fouled, I think, on 2 of them, and Boston's gotten fouled on, I think, double digits on their drive. So, maybe I hadn't looked at each individual drive, but when you're getting to the basket that much, and you're getting fouled that little, I mean, some of it you would think has to be on the refs.
As I've said for many, many years, there's no worse group of referees than NBA officials, bro. NBA officials for me in the United States are the worst group of officials, worse than any other pro league out there in the United States. I just don't think anybody brings it like NBA. That's those makeup calls and all this other stuff that goes on all the time. It's baffling to me, man. It really is sometimes the refereeing that goes on. And now my problem is you have played it. This is the kind of series that in these 4 games, the loser can't really complain because the loser never really played a good game.
Right, and it wasn't even close, right?
Right. They always get buried. So
right.
I can't even lay it on the officials. There have been some calls that were just
weird calls.
Yeah, it's just stuff that's terrible, but I can't lay it on them, right? In the end, when you look at the results for 4 games, the loser each night deserved to lose.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, whether the Heat took as many free throws as the Celtics or not in Game 4, the Celtics were clearly the better team. It wasn't even close.
Yeah.
But it is amazing that the Celtics have ended up taking 40 more free throws than the Heat in Games 3 and 4. That will have to turn around in Game 5. Again, Jimmy's shooting 0 free throws in Game 4. That played a big role in it. I mean, what do you take, 16, 18, or 18 free throws in Game 1?
Yeah.
That can't happen.
And nobody is better in traffic and around the rim than that guy. That guy, by the way, he has vice grips for hands, right? He doesn't really have real hands, right? Those things are mechanic.
No.
Right?
It's incredible.
He's got those are bionic hands, right? Those
are tight end, right? He should be a tight end.
No, I'm just saying. I think he had his hands replaced by something. Those aren't real hands. Those aren't real hands. I'm telling you. I'm calling bullshit on this. He had some operation and he has some bionic hands. Okay, because those mothers are vice grips, bro. That guy, you can't take the ball away from him in traffic.
No.
That is impressive.
His strength, his balance, and the way he can draw contact. Yeah. That's why, I mean, again, I think he took 2 free throws in Game 3, 0 in Game 4. That's not the Jimmy we know. Jimmy is going to have to be Jimmy in Game 5 for the Heat to win.
Oh, yeah, big time. Because we're not going to the Bam we're looking for is always on a milk cart. You have no idea when it's going to show up. It's like potluck. You know, it's just one of those. It's like a Jack in the Box.
Right, you just don't know.
And then it just pops up. Hey, well, Bam's going to score 25 tonight. Yeah, all right. All right, follow him on Twitter at Anthony_Chiang. Catch his work there at the Miami Herald and subscribe like I do to support all of our great journalists by subscribing and by creating this platform too, by the way. We support a lot of journalists by doing that also. Anthony, I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you. We will catch up later in the week. Hopefully, we'll be talking about something good on Thursday.
Yeah, big game. Probably most important game of the season. We'll see what happens. See you in a couple days ago.
All right, brother. Be good. There you go. Anthony Chiang. Download the app, iOS or Android. Tap that app, baby. Liquor Split. Flat fee of $2.99. No hidden fees whatsoever. And $1 of that $2.99 goes to helping homelessness in Miami. That's our Liquor Split Miami Heat report.